4. We're underway as SMU wins the opening tip. And again, a 15-game winning streak. Mustangs have won 25 of their last 26 games. Cincinnati, an outstanding defensive team, but a team that can also score. And the stick back there by Ben Moore.
Well, you've got a Cincinnati team that can throw a matchup zone or man-to-man. We were talking to Tim Jankovic prior to the game. He talked about having enough guys who can make plays. It's not necessarily about the sets you run, whether you're running your man offense or zone. It's can guys make plays.
Troy Copain, the 6'4 senior, has it on the wing with a shot clock down to 5. He fires it up there and knocks in the first one for the Bearcats.
This guy has been everything you could ask as a senior point guard. Steady, has made big shots. His assist-to-turnover ratio is outstanding. Troy Copain, what a year for him.
Such a cool customer yesterday in a very tough environment. Long jumper and a foul on that play. Sterling Brown, the 6'6 senior, gets hit. He had 22 points on Saturday along with 6 rebounds. Jim Jankovic in his first year at SMU. What a year for Tim. Just named the American Conference Coach of the Year. He was talking today with you and Andy and I about what a great feeling it is to know that, yes, today is a championship game. Someone's going to be real happy when it's over, these two teams. Someone's not going to be very happy for a couple of hours, but both are headed for the NCAA tournament and expected to have good runs.
Yeah, no question. He said it's a pride game. Both teams, I think, filled with competitors. So obviously when your NCAA tournament fate is already sort of in the books, this is about, hey, who's going to compete at the highest level, make the fewest mistakes.
3 shots for Brown, found in the act of shooting the 3. Usually very reliable at 81%. Talking about foul shots now, Cincinnati went to the line to shoot 46 times yesterday against UConn. They hit 38 of them. And that's 83% for a team that's, middle of the road as a foul shooting team. They nailed them.
Well, flat one of the basketball game down the stretch. If they don't hit that percentage, they would have opened a window.
I was hearing the echo of a whistle in my sleep.
Yeah, that's true.
Here's Foster straight on. Got a great look, but off the front of the iron. Rebound tip controlled by Brown, and he'll come out of there with it. These two teams split their 2 games. SMU winning 66-64 at home, losing 60-51 in Dallas. Oh, the follow won't go. The big effort there by Brooks. Here's Clark, who had such an outstanding game yesterday, and that one's short. He's coming off 25 points against UConn. Another touch here for Brown, and he'll swish it in from three-point land.
One of the things SMU will do, very well-schooled offensive team. They want to change sides of the floor, sometimes on multiple occasions. Sterling Brown, this guy has been rock solid over the course of his career. You look at he and Ben Moore, 2 Chicago natives, and where they will finish their careers. They are all over SMU's books.
Cincinnati has hardly been behind it all as Evans lifts. Cincinnati has trailed in this tournament before today for all of 17 seconds. Down early here, 6-2. On the baseline drive, the kick out for Brown. He'll drive the lane to his right. That scoop will drop in.
This is why I think you'll see Cincinnati use both their man-to-man and that matchup zone, because this is such a disciplined SMU offense. I think you got to try to keep them off balance.
Clark was golden at the foul line yesterday against UConn. He made 15 out of 16. Evans on the baseline got it underneath, but that shot won't fall. Long one, Milton. Yes. From three-point land, Shake Milton can do that too. He's 43% out there, and a nice start for the Mustangs on top 11-2 in the championship game, and a timeout by Mick Cronin. So SMU in gear early for the title.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Frontier Communications, official sponsor of the American Athletic Conference, and Lexus. Experience amazing.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You got it.
Mm-hmm.
11-2, SMU, pretty smooth beginning here. Now, they've met previously, as mentioned, twice. Back in January, Copain with a three-pointer with 19:41 on the clock put the Bearcats ahead. Sterling Brown's last-second shot rimmed off, and Cincinnati would win it 66-64. The rematch in February, President Bush was on hand, leading the cheers for SMU, but Cincinnati was led by Jacob Evans and Kevin Johnson. Early lead. Ogilvy highlighting a great game. The Mustangs, they got revenge to win at home 60-51. So Andy Katz, it has been an outstanding rivalry, and they go for round 3 today.
Yeah, it really has, Dave. When you look at this conference, you could make a strong argument that the most intense rivalry is between UConn and Cincinnati. We saw that certainly on Saturday. But the most important rivalry in this conference has been SMU and Cincinnati. Both head coaches telling me before tip-off that this rivalry has really meant something every time they've played, and they're very close, they're very competitive, very hard for each one of these teams to get on any kind of run, any kind of rhythm, because they play so well defensively against each other. So that's been an issue for them. And here's what's a very interesting, odd nugget. You know, they played on the 12th of each month this year, January 12th, February 12th, March 12th. And Tim said, can we play on April 12th? Well, you know, that would be after the national championship game. So that's not going to happen.
Yeah, maybe they'll get together just for kicks. So I don't think so. Yeah, they beat each other up pretty good.
Well, how about Cincinnati's offensive start? We've talked about this is Mick Cronin's best offensive team. They are 1 for 9 today. They ended yesterday's second half against UConn, though they won at 5 for 21. So they are now 6 for their last 30. This is a too good an offensive team. Those numbers will switch around before this game is over.
And right now they've missed on 9 consecutive shots. Getting started here in the first half. Cumberland launches. That's off target. Rebound taken away by Ogilvy and SMU. Ogilvy, the player of the year in the conference.
You need your defense right now to keep you attached. You've got to string together some stops while you get your offensive legs underneath you.
Well, they've always relied on that on the defensive end. Foster went for the rim. He lost the handle. Copain, by the way, needing 2 assists to become the school's all-time assist leader at Cincinnati. So that'll be quite a feather in his cap, and you know he's going to get that today.
Just what an outstanding year. A season ago, first team American Conference. Because he's got options now as Clark makes a tough move.
No whistle there, but now a whistle before the shot, so no basket. 14:47 to go in the first half here in Hartford.
Because Copain now has more options. Cumberland is a capable scorer. Clark has emerged. Evans. He is very content to say, okay, it's my job now to distribute the basketball, pick my spots carefully.
The swing for Cumberland. He had some impressive moments yesterday, didn't he? You do not want to get in his way when he's attacking the basket. In close and a foul. Kyle Washington gets hit, 6'9" junior from Minnesota. Now, Washington did not score a single point yesterday in 15 minutes of work. He did have 4 fouls against UConn.
Well, one of the areas of concern for Tim Jankovic was the power game, the low post game, the way that Cincinnati will attack you on the interior. So if you're Mick, you'd like to see this guy get started. Obviously, you get him a ball inside, let him go work individually.
Cincinnati wearing their armor red uniforms today, only the 3rd time this season. They won a game in them, 66-64 over SMU at home. First 2 points in about 4.5 minutes.
And now they expend the pressure, a little 2-2-1.
Brown quickly into the offensive end. He averages about 13 points a game, but he's one of those players you look up and he has 25, you're not shocked. So he can really shoot it beyond that 3-point line. Foster slamming on the brakes. He shoved with 14-18 to go in the half. For Cincinnati, it's 29 wins. Their school record is 31 back in the 01-02 season under Coach Huggins. So, I mean, they're closing in and with a deep run in the tournament, and a lot of people think they will with this group. They could go right by that number and set an all-time Cincinnati record.
Well, I think this is why people think they have an opportunity to go to the second weekend. You've said it. Mick Cronin's tenure has been decisively decided on the defensive end of the floor. That he has consistently held opponents to under 40% shooting. The difference this year is he's got a lot of answers on the offensive end of the floor.
Well, he'd like some of those guys to show up here after a chilly start. Copain up top for Washington. Back for the senior from Virginia. The swing, Clark can't bury it. And a whistle and a foul will go the other way. So Cincinnati a chilly 1 for 13 in the title game. And Quadri Moore is going to come on, a 6'8" junior.
Well, we should make note of the fact that SMU has also been one of the top defensive teams in the country all year. For Tim Jankovic, they came in yesterday's game 3rd in the nation in fewest points per game allowed, just 60.0. And SMU plays at one of the slowest paces in the country.
Blocked there by Clark. He got his fingertips on it. Ogilvy went for it. Loose on the deck again. With 13:36 to go, it'll go the other way. Now the bracket's just about done. Joey Brackett's keeping us informed throughout the last couple of weeks on the number 1 and number 2 seeds at the moment. What do you think about Duke, though? Winning the ACC championship. Don't they move off that 2 line?
They beat Carolina twice.
2 out of 3.
Yeah, so I'm surprised that Joey Brackett's. That was a spirited discussion, and I would assume in the last maybe 72 hours, that 1 and 2 line has been a topic of discussion, maybe more so than it has been in past years.
12-4 SMU with 13-14 to go here in the first half. That one tipped. Cumberland. And again, you don't want to get in his way, but he goes down hard and no whistle. Good no call there.
Feels like a decidedly less physical game than yesterday's Cincinnati-Connecticut game was, but Cincinnati is just 1 for 15. And they're lucky to be down 8. And
yes.
Again, thank goodness this is the end of the floor where they understand, okay, we've got to compete. Look at the help given by Gary Clark, and this is what's keeping them attached.
Clark with a couple of big blocks. Copain all the way through for 2.
This is a Cincinnati team that averages about 75 points per game. And when you're struggling, the 2 ways they've scored, right? Play off your defense, get in a numbered break situation, get an easy opportunity, and then get to the free throw line.
If you're a basketball fan, you've got to like number 11 for Cincinnati, Gary Clark.
I love that guy.
Can score, play defense. He's blocking shots right now, left and right. Down for Moore. He went for another one, but that one banked in. Nice shot by Moore for 2. He has 4.
Mr. Versatility for the SMU Mustangs. Moore will give you a little bit of everything, as will Sterling Brown.
Clark and Ogilvy really bodying up on each other. That's a fun matchup. Way downtown, and Cumberland drills it. He was named to the coaches' conference all-rookie team, and a man down.
That's a Melagoo. I believe. It was on a screen.
Ben Melagoo on his back here, 6'5" junior from Texas, getting attended to.
Yeah, and it was just a solid screen. You could see nothing dirty. He holds his position. This is a Melagoo just making a defensive play, and you see just a straight up screen right there.
Quadri Moore, just a stone wall.
Yeah, exactly.
He went right into him, and that rang his bell. And he's heading for the locker room for more attention. So when we come back, you had a terrific interview early in the week with Shemi Ogilvy. You two doing some shooting and some talking when we come back.
You transfer out of Duke, you were playing sparingly. Give me some sense of the lowest moment for you. You transfer out of Duke, you were playing sparingly. Give me some sense of the lowest moment for you, Shemi. And we're going to just shoot around, and don't get scared. I'm not shooting, he is. So here you go.
For me, probably the lowest moment was, I guess, the day I transferred, really. Telling Coach K that you're gonna leave is something that you don't want to do. So right after practice, I sit on the side, I told him, Coach, like, I'm leaving. And like, to this day, I'm not really sure how I did it. Cause I mean, he's Coach K, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to tell that man you're leaving this program.
A man without a school. And a scary moment for somebody as young as you. Why SMU, Shemi? Why? How did you find that place?
Coach Brown. It's a Hall of Fame coach, again, that wants me to come play for him. Like, I can't pass this up. Like, it's unreal. So he came down and he just felt so genuine, like he had a real interest in me. And you know, a lot of the schools are telling me like, we want you here, but I don't know, I feel like I had a connection with him.
He's not only the American Conference Player of the Year, he's the Scholar Athlete of the Year. And you want to talk about a guy who's well-rounded and has perspective. He also volunteers at the homeless shelter 2 days a week. I don't know what you and I are doing daily, but Andy Katz, what a terrific young man he is.
Yeah, he really is. I had a chance to catch up with Larry Brown yesterday, obviously, who recruited him, and he said he never had to worry about him academically, and Shemi made sure he told him that. Also said whenever they were going to watch film.
Ben Moore over the top.
Yeah, you know, he was right there to watch it with him, maybe on dunks like that. But I had a chance to catch up with Mick Cronin before the game, and he said, look, I never saw him in high school, and I didn't see him play at Duke, which he didn't. And he said, wow, is he good? Certainly is.
He began his career at Duke, transferred after just one semester. There are moments in your life you better find some courage. As Moore, harassed underneath, can't connect. Gets it back, right back up strong for two. One of those moments, if you're Shemi Ogilvy, where you have to summon all the courage you have, is when you sit down with Coach K and say, I'm leaving Duke. I'm going somewhere else. It'll be a better move for me.
Probably an intimidating experience, but ultimately I think at the end of the day, Mike Krzyzewski is about the welfare and care of his players, right? I think that's what makes him one of the best coaches in the country. He cares about his guys.
Milton out high. SMU moments ago with just the second dunk against Cincinnati all weekend for any opponent. On the move, Cumberland again.
And look at Cincinnati, right? You have struggled mightily with the exception of Troy Copain, but you're sitting right there. You're only down 5, and certainly no panic from the Bearcats.
Evans, tough leaner. Nothing there for him. 5-point lead for SMU as Brown tries to stick it, but comes up empty. And as cold as the Bearcats have been, they're only down 5. So a great sign for Cincinnati. The entry for Clark off the fake. Yes.
And what are they doing? They're getting inside the paint all of a sudden. Moore had the really big-time rebound and put back, and now Clark gets inside. And this was the concern for Tim Jankovic, the power game of Cincinnati, and their points are coming in the paint right now.
Tim told us that every game this season, one team has made a run, and then the other team moments later has made a run to tie it. That's been the pattern of this series. Moore with a shot. That clangs away. On the attack, Copain. From behind, Foster came and interrupted the play. Nice defensive effort.
The trail person on Cincinnati has got to communicate to Copain. He's got to be shouting at the top of his lungs, behind, behind, behind.
Foster zips a pass for Moore. Ogilvy has been real quiet early on. Moore again in close. Oh, he beat everybody by the rebound. He made the shot. He'll go to the line. He came out of nowhere to grab that miss and headed to the stripe.
You know, given as good as they get in this instance on the offensive window, he's the guy who uses his left hand, quick second jump. And if you're Moore, you can't stand there now. Once he's gotten by you, you've got to go find him and put a body on him. Instead, Moore's got an inside track, and he makes an easy opportunity.
Well, if he makes the foul shot, he'll have scored SMU's last 7,000 points, 600 rebounds, and 100 blocks for the senior. Around and out.
He does not shoot the 3 well, Moore, but other than that, he can contribute in every phase of the game.
Yeah, he's 12 points, 8 rebounds a game for the Mustangs. Trying to win their 16th in a row. They're one of the hottest teams in the country. Kickball here coming into this championship. Cincinnati trying to be the team that snaps that skid and wins the title here. Now both teams have plans to stay right here and watch the selection show. It's not like they're, getting on their charters right away.
No way. Come on, what's better for kids than to hear your team name announced and then to see who the matchup is and where you're going? Like today as a college basketball player is the most exciting day of the year.
As good as it gets. Tonight when we're done here, bracketology presented by Allstate on ESPN, the reveal of the 68 teams. Reese, Jay Williams, Jay Billis, Seth Greenberg, Dickie V hosting our college hoop experts.
Well, those guys this morning had such a spirited discussion about, who should be on that one line. Should Gonzaga with only 1 loss, or should maybe Duke and North Carolina?
Ogilvy on the entry, yes.
And I wonder if this, were the discussions as spirited on the same topic in the selection committee room?
Well, had to be, didn't they?
I would assume so.
Yeah, it's great stuff. I love it when they disagree, too.
Oh, it's always civil Imagine having disagreement and discourse where you can completely object to the other's position, but no rancor involved at all.
Moore with a miss. SMU by 7. And we'll see if Ogilvy gets a little more involved here. Number 33 in white for the Mustangs. He had 36 in the quarterfinals. Melagoo, let's fly, and it's all net from three-point land.
Wow.
Typically, that's a real problem for him.
That's a bonus. This is unexpected. Melagoo, the Coast 6 Player of the Year, but there's been no game in which he's taken 10 shots. He's never had a single game where he's taken double-digit shots, but I'll tell you what, when you're in a championship environment, you'll take it where you can get a little sidestep dribble. Coast 6 Man of the Year. Love and life, make the 3. That's me, baby.
And here in Hartford, SMU with a 10-point lead on Cincinnati. Doris Burke, Dave O'Brien, and Andy Katz with you. Been a terrific story following Troy Copain and his mom, Renee, who makes every game virtually, joined by Andy Katz.
All right, thank you, Dave. I am joined by Renee Copain. Renee, first of all, how many games, I'm going to do the other side, how many games have you actually missed in his career?
I've missed 10.
That's a pretty good number. How hard is it to get to all these?
It's not so hard because I travel right out of the Richmond airport, and then I drive to all the home games to Cincinnati.
All right, so Troy right now has tied Deontay Vaughn all-time assist record at Cincinnati. One more assist, and he breaks it. What kind of signals do you send to each other during the course of a game?
Oh, we could do a head nod. We do the time to turn it up. Let's get it. Get strong. Let's go. Let's move forward. Just a little different things.
So what's the signal that he needs one more assist to break the all-time Cincinnati record?
Just put the hand up one more. Just one more. That's it. And I'll start clapping and getting ready for the celebration.
So clearly he dishes it out with this team. How much of an assist is he to you?
Oh, he's a big assist. He keeps me laughing, keeps me just on my toes as he gets older. It used to be role reversal. I used to be the mom. Now he seems to think he's the parent.
Now the NCAA's done a great job of providing to get families to the Final Four. From your vantage point, how much could they do more to help families travel around?
Oh, I can't even answer that. I don't know. I just do it. Just keep doing it. Keep doing it. I couldn't even begin to tell you.
I just thought I'd see if you want any help. That's all. They say they need to help, but that's all right.
I'm good. I'm going to do what I got to do for as long as he keeps it going, I'm going to keep it going.
All right, so clearly a big fan here. They're down 10. What's your signal to make sure Cincinnati can come back?
Turn it out. Let's turn it out right now. Right now. Let's get it started. Let's go.
All right, Dave and Doris. They said turn it up. Shake those hands.
She's terrific. She's great. We've seen Troy blow a kiss at the end of games to Renee when the victory's been sealed for Cincinnati. And I mean, you're a mom who watched your kids play sports too. You know what that feeling's like. But he's a Division I athlete and an outstanding player. Clark battling underneath for the rebound. Really fighting it. And a whistle there on the baseline with 6:38 to go in the half.
That's the 7th offensive rebound for Cincinnati, and they're going to have to continue to try to create multiple opportunities on this end to try to erase this deficit. But I love his mom. How about that? I'll do whatever it takes to see my son. Doesn't matter.
Whatever it takes.
I need no help, Dave O'Brien. That's what she said. I love that.
And she's driving from Richmond, Virginia to Cincinnati to see all of his home games over all those years. Another battle in close there by Evans, but he can't hit. 125 out of 135. And I'll bet she only talks about the 10 she's missed.
Of course, it's what you remember. Sure it is. There's nothing like a mother's guilt. Come on now.
SMU, by the way, a rarity a couple of moments ago before the break when Amelagu hit that long shot. They had not had a bench point in almost 80 minutes. Only played 6 men yesterday, Doris, and that's not unusual for Tim Jankovic to have such a short bench.
Well, he told us this morning that he thinks that this tournament could be one of the hardest things they've had to do. Even in an NCAA tournament environment, you get 1 day's preparation. When I was asking about trying to deal with both the man and the zone of Cincinnati, he said, I wish I had just a little extra time preparation.
Again, Copain, we're number 10 for the Bearcats. 1 assist from the all-time record. Cumberland to penetrate. He dumps it downstairs. Shot clock down to 5. There's the entry pass, the foul, count that, and there's that assist. And the first thing Detroit did was look up to see his mom up in the stands. That's a tremendous moment for Troy Copain.
This was important to him. He said, Mom's so proud, as she should be.
Cheering the loudest here in Hartford. Averages about 5 assists a game. He had 5 yesterday, and now the most in school history. And Renee was there to see it again.
She looks like she's choked up.
Yeah.
That is beautiful right there.
That's pride.
It's big time pride.
And a 3-point play for Clark, who keeps getting it done.
Yeah, they're staying attached. Now they come again with a little bit of pressure. They're just trying to keep SMU so disciplined, plays at a slow tempo. Just keep giving them different looks, keep them off balance. Been a quiet half for Shemi Ojale, who's been terrific in this tournament.
Most we've heard from him is you on tape with him. Foster airborne. Yeah, he got that to go. Sheree Foster, sophomore out of Houston. SMU certainly been the smoother offensive team. And they were a very good shooting team. They hit 40% of their threes in conference play to lead the American during the regular season. Cumberland on the spin, scoops it up, he got it.
You keep talking about when he's driving, because you look at his frame, it was college ready to compete. He's a hard driver. I think he's got a big-time future in this program.
He's had some explosive games against USF, for example, 26 points, just a freshman. He could be one of the next stars in the American. 10 on the shot clock. Moore to the paint, to his right. That's a tough move.
I'll tell you what, you're talking about a big, strong frame of Cumberland, though. Moore does a nice job with an efficient use of the dribble. And this is why I call him Mr. Versatility. You can invert him to the post. He can step away and make mid-range shots. He can defend any number of positions.
He is 10 and 6. Johnson lets fly the three. Only 32% out there. 27-18 SMU. On the run. Oh, tremendous effort by Ojale. That might have been the most spectacular attempt of a dunk. Cumberland takes the bump. He can't connect, but he'll be at the line. Ojale on the long pass. Went for the slam, came up empty, but SMU has a 27-18 lead in the championship game.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. Northwestern Mutual. We help you live life differently. And Novartis.
And gentlemen, one of the Champ Week headlines has to be Duke winning 4 times in 4 days to take the ACC. Coach K, his 14th ACC title. That is the most all time.
Yeah, they go the second half with Grayson Allen on the bench. I mean, think about, he can erupt for 30. You've got a lot of big-time scorers. And to Jay Will's point about the Rhode Island Rams, how about their defense was #1 in the league in points allowed, field goal percentage defense, three-point percentage defense. They're winning on the defensive end, and E.C. Matthews can be explosive. But they're absolutely killing me right now because my PC Friars, because they become the AQ in the A10, Providence drops down to the last 4 in. Welcome to Dayton.
Ouch for you.
See, that's a bitter rivalry, and though I do not root against the Rams, I hope they advance deep. I really don't like to see them messing with where my Friars start the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, Rhode Island, one of the 4 losses for Cincinnati all season long. That was back in November when they were in the top 25, and now they've caught fire again. Cincinnati does not have a single bad loss. They're down right now by 7 despite shooting the ball poorly early. Here's Milton. Shot clock at 7 for SMU. Kick back out for Foster. Dumps it down for Moore. Got to get a shot in the air just in front of the shot clock, but he missed it. Here's Johnson trying to slither in. He's denied. Tight defense by the Mustangs. Through the first 4 games for SMU in this tournament, they allowed 44 total first half points.
This is why, Dave, I think these 2 teams are going to be a tough out. Both incredibly fundamentally sound on the defensive end of the floor.
Melagoo straight on with a miss. And a whistle, 2:39 to go. Well, tomorrow we'll have the exclusive live announcement of the 64-team NCAA Women's Championship field again this year at 7 o'clock on ESPN. Maria Taylor, Rebecca Lobo, Andy Landers, Carol Lawson, and Charlie Cream will break it all down region by region. The NCAA Women's Selection Special presented by Capital One. Of course, UConn, the favorite again.
Well, imagine the topic of conversation on the Selection Special. 107 wins in a row for Gino Auriemma's team in what was supposed to be a rebuild.
Johnson back for Cumberland, lining up a 3. The shot's just not dropping, and a foul against Cincinnati.
Gary Clark said he was hooking me on the interior.
Cincinnati 1 for 12 beyond the 3-point line.
Hand-to-hand combat always. Both guys have their arms engaged. But it'll be Clark who comes up on the short end of the stick, and that's his second foul.
So he will have to sit. That's a big miss the way he's played in this tournament. SMU by 7 with the ball here, approaching the 2-minute mark in Hartford.
There's the matchup zone. And you have to communicate. Jaron is trying to communicate with Copain.
Quite rare for the Mustangs. They have 2 subs in the game at the same time. Milton's pass interrupted. The theft by Evans. He'll drive it, steps through, and a block from behind. May have been Ben Moore to get down there. Milton goes airborne off the window for 2.
Boy, we've seen him use that left hand twice, and that was under serious protection of the rim. That is really good concentration.
5 points for Shake Milton. Another block, this one by Foster. There's contact. That's an offensive foul. So Mick Cronin's team down by 9 and in some trouble here right before halftime.
And Mick Cronin saying to his guys, pass the ball. He wants to see it moving and popping, even in situations where they're playing off misses and getting in transition.
Cincinnati's missed 9 of their last 11 shots.
And still down 9. I mean, listen, that field goal percentage, 22%. You would think the lead could be double digits. You got to give a ton of credit to Cincinnati for this end of the floor, too.
No question. As is typically the case. Melagoo pissing off here for more, and he's going to be hit to the deck. He's going to pick it up and run. Cumberland racing and got that one to go.
You really like this young man. 6'5", 218 pounds, has a handle, drives it hard. He also was the co-6th man of the year and all-rookie team. How about that? You're talking about the frame of a Melagoo who's got big-time strength himself, and there's contact. He's at full speed. And the touch, Dave, to put it up there that soft.
Cumberland at the line where he's 63%. Can't connect on the 3-point play.
He doesn't He does not, to me, Cumberland, have the countenance of a freshman. And I know we're deep in the season, so we sort of say there, but he hasn't had that countenance all year. The kid's been fearless, competitive, and productive.
Deshaun McDowell, the 6'5" freshman, only plays about 5 to 8 minutes a game, but getting in here for the Mustangs at the tail end. Milton launching, not there. And rebounded away by Cincinnati. Again, only down by 7 right before the break. Copain will set it up now for one last shot for the Bearcats. Trying to inch a little bit closer.
They flattened it out. Troy, you wonder, do they bring a high ball screen, or are they going to just flatten it out and let him try to make a play on one-on-one?
He drives it. Tough one-hander and draws the foul. So 3.7 seconds remaining. McDowell will pick up his first. And Copain will be to the line here. 4th in the nation in assist to turnover ratio. So one of the very best. Just set the record for most assists in school history. His mom can't even watch when he's at the line.
She peeks at the very end. And now she's like, make it. That is great. That's very good advice.
Timeout. We'll take the break for 30 seconds. SMU on top, 29-22 here in the championship game.
Look at Renee. Troy misses the shot, and watch her advice for her son. Relax, son. Relax, Troy. Step in there and deliver that. Let's see, does he take her advice? This is great.
His second one coming.
And she doesn't appear to be able to peek. She must know the rhythm of his routine, because she kind of peeks up right at the end of it. Look at her. She's not looking.
Less than 4 seconds before the break. Much better on the second one. Milton across midcourt. Gave it up. Meligu straight on. He hits it! Right at the buzzer to end the first half. He hit 2. And that's a guy who's only hitting about 29%.
In the first 20 has been what they've done in the first 3 games. They have not given up more than 23 at any point.
Moments ago, Andy Katz with Mick Cronin.
Mick, what's the first thing you told him in the locker room?
2 assists equals big loss. You know, now I know we've missed some open shots. Your defense has got to hold you in when you're struggling on the offensive end. Obviously, Jacob Evans 0 for 5, 0 for 2 from the line. It's going to make it tough on us to win. Him and Kyle Washington don't have a basket against a team this well. Look, we're going to have to just play better on offense. Talk about defense all you want now. You're going to have to get some points to beat this team. They're top 10 in the country.
What needs to happen in the first 4 minutes?
Oh, we got to get the ball in the basket and get some stops right away. Like, we got to get back in this thing right away.
Thanks, Mick.
Thanks, man.
We'll see if that happens right away. But Cincinnati is 5-1 when trailing at halftime this season.
Well, this is a program whose culture is established. And listen, they're as attached as they are because they grind on the defensive end of the floor. They're a better offensive team than they've shown. My expectation is that basket's going to loosen up a little bit.
In for Clark, usually the man to get him going. It almost went. He'll be at the line in the opening seconds of the second half. SMU trying to win the regular season championship in the American and the tournament as well, going on to the NCAA tournament. It is a given for both of these schools. So it'll be Clark to the line, 69%. He's taken so many foul shots in Hartford. When he came, his foul shooting percentage was 64%. It's up 5 points this weekend alone. And he's been making them like crazy.
He certainly doesn't, from a form perspective, look like there's anything that make you think he could only shoot in the 60s.
Cincinnati 8 out of 12 at the line in this one. Nothing close to the foul shooting contest yesterday.
Yeah. Any time in this day and age where a game's going 2.5 hours, you know a number of fouls were called.
Brown with a leaner, went for his own miss. Foster took it in. SMU in the white. Team that cleaned up in the conference awards. Player of the year, 6th man of the year, and the coach of the year, Tim Jankovic. The bounce for Ojale. Will he get started in the second half? He kicks it out instead. Foster sinks it from 3.
That's their 8th assist on their 14th basket. And Ojale felt like he had a mismatch, and that's something SMU will do. They'll try to sniff those out. But credit Ojale for making the pass. This is a guy who can go for 30, but he understands, hey, I got an uncontested shot on the weak side of the floor.
Yeah, he went for 36 in the quarterfinals. This is the largest lead of the day for the Mustangs. Up by 10. Trying to double up. Here's Evans with 2 to get off a shot. Copain had to force it. It's blocked anyway. And a shot clock violation. Tight defense by Sterling Brown.
Well, let's watch what happens. See, the double is going to come. So what happens? You see multiple defenders around you. This side of the floor is going to be open. And Shimmy does his job and finds it. And even the rotation by Evans, not enough to prohibit that look.
Unselfish.
Exactly.
Mustangs, an outstanding passing team, and you heard Mick Cronin say just 2 assists for Cincinnati at halftime. He said that's going to lead to a big loss. So he told Andy Katz. Milton, nice dish there. No finish by Moore. How did he miss that one? Highly unusual for him.
Kind of raises his hand on the way back and taps his chest like, that's my bad. I think he was stunned.
Evans went down to the seat of his pants. He maintained it. Now tied up. Possession arrow will take it to the other end. That'll be SMU ball. So things not breaking well right now for Mick Cronin.
He seems to be sticking with that theme of pass the basketball. There's the moment late in the second half. They had a numbered break situation. Ball handler takes it to the rack. He wants to see that thing moving and popping a little bit more.
35-25, the number 1 seed and the number 2 seed. Previous 2 games this season were both very tight, and they split them. And as mentioned, they'll both go to the NCAA tournament. They're going to hang around here in Hartford in the arena to watch the selection show as Brown knocks it in. And find out where they are headed.
What do you think about preseason, all the practices, over half the year gone by and you're involved in your season, to know the culmination of all your work is just hours away. It's such a cool day.
Washington, and he hits that shot, a tough shot. He's been quiet the last couple of days. They really need him. He now has 4 points, 1 for 2 from the field. Averages about 13. Milton bouncing for more. He was the main man in the first half of the Mustangs. Shot clock down to 9. Milton with a 3. Got it.
This kid can flat shoot the basketball. Think about, he slides over to the lead guard position. Nick Moore had manned it so capably for all of that time at SMU. And Shake doing his job.
Shake at 6'6", 43% beyond the 3-point line. Kevin Johnson, they continue to probe, but the shot clock's at 5. Copain straight on. So now suddenly Cincinnati's in a bit of a danger zone, aren't they?
No question about it, because you've got an SMU team that's got the ball, the advantage, and again, I'll emphasize, they play at an incredibly slow pace, and they can sort of control the tempo of this thing if they want.
Bearcats trying to cut in, looking for a hot hand right now in the second half. Copain to penetrate, and that's going to be an offensive foul. 15:33 to go. Right now, the Mustangs with the upper hand. their biggest lead of the afternoon over Cincinnati.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Frontier Communications, official sponsor of the American Athletic Conference, and Lexus. Experience amazing.
The lob. Martin, the finish. Iowa State, they're Big 12 champions. And the Duke Blue Devils win 4 games and win this tournament. Arizona wins the Pac-12 tournament championship.
I'm really proud of our team. They showed how together we were and how tough we were tonight.
The lob. Martin, the finish. Iowa State, they're Big 12 champions. And the Duke Blue Devils win 4 games and win this tournament. Arizona wins the Pac-12 tournament championship.
I'm really proud of our team. They showed how together we were and how tough we were tonight.
We're looking to crown another champion here in Hartford. We take a look at our tournament challenge resume brought to you by Acura. Now look at SMU, and Joe Lunardi has him down to a 6 now, Andy.
Well, a lot of that has to do with the body of work. It's a little surprising that Larry Brown and Tim Jankovich didn't challenge this SMU team a little bit more in the non-conference when they knew they were going to have a team that could win this league. If you look at their non-conference schedule, they had that tournament in New York at the beginning of the season. They lost that game to Michigan. They lost at USC. They clearly did not challenge themselves more than that. They had the game against TCU, which they did win, which is an annual game, whereas Cincinnati, and Mick does this all the time, he tries to find true home and home with Iowa State. They won at Iowa State. They got the game against Xavier. And that tournament earlier in the season when they lost to Rhode Island, the next game would have been against Duke. So they clearly had plans on playing Duke, and that would have helped their strength of schedule as well.
You wondered if SMU wins this, do the seed lines flip just by virtue of the 2 wins by SMU?
I think the bracket's probably already set. The selection committee is going to unveil it within an hour or so, and this is a game they didn't have to worry about. I would not be surprised when I meet with Mark Hollis later tonight at the Marriott Marquis for our selections show special tonight. I'm going to ask him that because I wonder whether or not this game matters. He's the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee chair, also the AD at Michigan State.
Well, Tim Jankovich said really this game comes down to pride. He said both teams know they're going to the NCAA tournament. Obviously, that's everything is pushing in that direction, but they've won the regular season. He feels like his guys are competitive, as we know Cincinnati is.
Andy, make sure you try the veal at the Marriott Marquis. It's just outstanding. Okay? Glad to hear your evening set up. I know you got a lot of work to do this week. 6 on the shot clock. Washington on the entry. Cincinnati has missed 21 of their last 24 threes, and the 2s aren't falling either. Washington so strong, gets it back up and in, but they need a lot more of those.
You just got to keep creating multiple possessions.
42-29. Approaching the 14-minute mark of the American Championship game.
I can't wait to see your Final Four picks. All three of us on this broadcast team gave our Final Four picks.
And that's before the bracket. Keep that in mind. You know, one quick thing. The selection committee did tell me when they did that snapshot of the top 16, Cincinnati was supposed to be number 17 on that list. Now, that was one moment in time. We'll see how they evaluate these two teams going forward. But Mick told me before the game, he's convinced these are two teams that should be in the top 15 of the seeds. And they both head coaches really believe these are second weekend teams.
Cincinnati with a travel violation. Well, let's give you those picks now. We made these before the game. And Doris going with Villanova, Duke, North Carolina, UCLA for the Final Four. Andy, the Zags, Villanova, Duke, and Arizona. It's funny, we all have Duke in there.
UCLA I'm basing on talent. I don't say they're playing very well right now, but I do wonder, can they just put it together? Some of that will be matchup related. They're not playing great, but the talent is there for a run.
Cumberland on the run. He'll draw the foul, trying to inject some life into the Cincinnati attack. So there you go.
You're putting Kentucky in there.
I do like it. I've seen Kentucky a lot this year. And this is what it comes back to. It's who you've seen and how they've played when you've seen them, right?
And they look very good in this SEC tournament. A little physical game against Arkansas this afternoon, but Kentucky has risen to the challenge in the last couple of weeks.
Well, they certainly have guys who can carry you. Monk can go for 40. We've already seen that. De'Aaron Fox is a special talent. Bam Adebayo, once he figured out how to play without foul trouble, which he had early in the year.
And I think also people get caught up on whether or not this Kentucky team is as good as the one that won the title or the one that went 38-0. They only have to be good relative to this field.
That's exactly right.
And so it doesn't matter what happened in the past with Kentucky. If they're good enough this year against the rest of this field, which they certainly can be, they're one of those 8 to 10 teams that can win the title.
Where do you fall on the argument that the guys had where I think it was Reese believed Gonzaga, because of the body of work, should be on the 1 seed? I think Jay might have objected. And he would have put Duke on that seed line, Andy.
Well, I mean, the committee has to evaluate, the games that they lost. You can't sort of say that they didn't have Coach K or this player. They still lost the games. So you can't put that aside. But the problem is the committee sometimes will say two things at the same time. They'll say body of work, and then that'll include maybe losses earlier in the season when you didn't have certain guys, and now you have them back. And then they'll also say, you're playing very well now because everyone's healthy. And sometimes they sort of try to fit it in the narrative that works for a particular team that's in, or a high seed, or one that's out.
They're not the only ones guilty of that.
Yes, we all are.
Beaujolais really heated up here in the last 5 or 6 minutes. Foster with a 3. He sinks it, and they're all dropping for the Mustangs. They open up their biggest lead here, and they're 8 out of 15 beyond the three-point line. 48-31. I think Cincinnati's great worry today, because they have been so choppy offensively, is what would happen when the Mustangs started making their shots from way downtown, and they're doing it. Cumberland swings for Evans. Shot clock at 4. To his right, drawing to contact with 12:24 remaining. Of course, we're going to find out tonight about all the brackets. Bracketology presented by Allstate. Closing in on that, the field of 68 with Reese, Jay Williams, Jay Billis, Seth Greenberg, and Dickie V. A complete breakdown of each region.
Well, in a year where the bubble has been a big topic of conversation,
the soft bubble,
historically bad bubble and all that, if you're not in this year, no complaints.
Right. Exactly right. Evans at the line, sinks the first. He was 8 out of 10 at the line yesterday against UConn. Trying to inch a little bit closer. Following Joey Brackets now, the last 4 in Providence, Syracuse, Wake, and Kansas State. And the first 2 out, USC and Illinois State.
And an old Big East battle looming perhaps in Dayton. And anyone who's at the 87 Final Four, as I was, and Syracuse beat the Friars, which is a consistent theme over the years. I love Jim Boeheim, but he's tortured my Providence College Friars.
Yes, he has, for a long, long time. I think you leave Syracuse out at your own peril.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
You guys see Illinois State on the screen. We had a chance to talk to Tim Jankovich before the game. He's the former Illinois State head coach. And he said, look, I know how Dan Miller's feeling, because I used to be in that position where you just didn't win that one conference tournament title game in the Missouri Valley, and this time around it's against Wichita State, and you're expected to do that to get in. Illinois State didn't do that. They had a great regular season. Now they have to sweat it. On the flip side, he did point out that the Valley's not as strong now as it was when he was in there. Northern Iowa isn't as good. Creighton no longer in there. So it's a 2-bid league normally, but this season it may only be a 1 because Wichita State won the tournament title and regular season got the #1 seed in that conference.
How about he said, guys, he lost 2 championship games in overtime and doesn't go to the tournament.
Didn't go to the tournament. Like, hey, we're not good enough? We lose in overtime in the championship? Not overtime, that's not enough. 48-36, SMU on top, and we'll take a break.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the Lexus Command Performance Sales Event, now through March 31st. See your Lexus dealer and Allstate. It's good to be in good hands.
Seconds to make as many foul shots as you can. Get ready. Get set. Go! Michael from SMU's off to an early start here. Getting ahead over Zach from Cincinnati, although Zach's starting to catch up. Zach's got 1. We got 3 for Michael so far. And we've got 10 seconds remaining. 3 for Zach. 3 for Michael so far. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time is up. Michael, yours doesn't count if it goes. We have 4 for Zach. We have 3 for Michael. Congratulations. A come-from-behind victory for Zach from Cincinnati. Nice job. You've won an American gift pack. And both of our contestants have won a round of applause from everyone here. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, you can do better than that. A nice round of applause for both of our contestants.
Well, the difference in this basketball game right now is the ability of SMU to make threes. They have 6 more threes plus 18, and it's come from a couple of different and at times unexpected. Emeligu makes the one at the end of the half. He had 2 in the first half. They were shots they were probably content to give him. It's come from any number of guys, Dave. You have Shemi Ojale, you have Ben Emeligu, Sterling Brown, Shake Milton. They've all hit at least 1.
On the other side, Cincinnati just 2 for 15 outside the three-point line, and overall just 28% shooting today.
And they're already on the mark for what they've made in a game with 11 minutes left. Okay, you can tell it's the end of a basketball season.
What have you done, like 14 games this week?
Goodness.
11-12 between the ACC and the American. So SMU to put it in. Foster over the top. Ojale, he was the last man to touch it.
So this is far from over. Just a 12-point game. Can make it into single digit if Nick's team could start to maybe make some threes.
Well, forcing a turnover there, and they get the basketball back. Who do they turn to? Well, they have plenty of weapons. Copain, Evans, certainly Clark and Washington, Cumberland.
Good job by Foster to battle Clark down there on the post. Boy, what a battle between those 2 guys.
Cumberland retrieves his own miss and draws the foul as he gets knocked down.
I think they might say this is on the floor.
So 10:57 to go as the freshman from Wilmington, Ohio, Finished as his high school's all-time leading scorer, over 2,400 points. Draws that foul, a non-shooting foul. Evans quickly into the other side of the iron. Clark and one.
I tell you, if you're not making threes, that three-point opportunity will just be as effective.
Well, you may want to mark this down at the 10:55 mark.
Well, just a poor inbound on the defensive end for SMU. They let Gary Clark beat him to a spot, and he finishes.
Foster with the foul.
Got a peek at the tooth that he lost yesterday when he took his mouthpiece out there.
Andy, do you actually have the tooth?
I do not have tooth. I have more on the tooth. So this happened actually initially in practice against Kane Broom as a transfer from Sacred Heart. That's what Gary told me yesterday. Originally it was an elbow there, but then yesterday it was from Amina Brima, a much discussed incident with Amina Brima.
I would say so.
Yes. So Gary says he'll get it fixed after the season.
Wearing it with pride right now, that particular look. And a mouth guard to boot. Ojeleye with a follow. He got up there quickly.
We wondered if you'd hear from the American Conference Player of the Year. The 36 he had earlier in this tournament, they were huge because in the second half, East Carolina made a huge push, and he made every big play.
9 and 6 for Shemi Ojeleye, 6'7" junior. And the transfer from Duke, who has blossomed into a big star in the American. 8 to get off a shot. Johnson for Washington. Got to get something in the air. And a wild pass fired on a play. That was with 1 on the shot clock. He should have been shooting it. They've turned it over 7 times. McCronin's team only 10 turnovers a game. Very stingy with the basketball.
That one, I think, he's trying to fire the pass because he knows how low the clock is, Dave. You'd be better off to just try to create your own shot.
Sure. Ojeleye again getting a lot more touches all of a sudden here at this juncture. Draws the foul. That's up and off the iron. It was hilarious to watch Shake Milton. Did you see that?
He was giving a little shake.
A little shake and bake there to try and get that thing to drop in.
I don't know if any of our cameras caught it, but the backyard was moving on Shake Milton. My goodness. He's hoping this thing falls. He's out on the perimeter.
Shake tried to do everything he could to shake it in. Clark with his second foul.
He looked like a golfer trying to coax a putt in.
9:38 to play. Ojeleye all grins. I know you've really enjoyed the time you've spent with him here in Hartford.
What a class young man. Scholar Athlete of the Year, American Conference Player of the Year, and twice a week volunteering at a homeless shelter. Only has to take one class. I mean, he's literally so far ahead academically that he's taking one class this semester, doesn't want to waste his time, so he's contributing to the larger good in society. So that reminds me how blessed I am to go over to the homeless shelter.
Here's Evans. Yes! That's a rare triple today for Cincinnati. They need some more of those. But now within 10. Well, at one point they were 2 for 15, now 3 out of 16 from 3.
SMU has had 2 big leads that they've given up in this tournament, so don't think this window is closed by any stretch for Cincinnati.
Yeah, against East Carolina, they were up 24, and then the game was tied with a minute to play at 77. Brown launching. Got it!
Not if they keep making threes at this clip now. That's 1 over what they have average per game on the year.
They are a good three-point shooting team. 9 for 16 today. Washington jumping to the paint for 2.
A really good, efficient move by Washington. Just on the catch, so decisive.
Makes 50% of his shots.
That's your advantage as a post player is on the catch, you can decide how quickly you set the tempo of the defense there.
There have been a couple of instances where it looked like the Mustangs were going to run away. Cincinnati has fought back. Now the officials will keep it on this end with 8:11 to go.
So Sterling Brown has a history in this program of delivering big shots. This one under duress as Cincinnati trying to make a push. Yeah, you can see his teammates. Yeah, we've seen that song before.
Trying to get it in a timeout called by SMU. Melligu will take the timeout. so as not to turn it over. Cincinnati still alive in this thing, 55-44 in the championship.
Ladies and gentlemen, get on your feet. It's time for the Bank of America t-shirt toss.
The Young American Conference. This is the 4th championship game. Louisville, 2014. SMU, Larry Brown in 2015. And UConn in 2016. And now SMU and Cincinnati tangling again for the 4th championship in the history of the conference. And SMU trying to win both the regular season and the tournament titles.
Well, you know, there's a little precedent here for a school coming off of a ban in the postseason and getting to the Final Four. Syracuse banned, next year Final Four. SMU banned last year. This year, Dave and Doris, they have the goods to get there?
Well, I certainly think they're a balanced, disciplined, well-coached team.
It's a hard sell. I was trying to sell
it. It is.
Dallas, are you listening?
I like them in the second weekend. I definitely like them in the second weekend. Obviously, one of the hottest teams in the country.
But do you like them better than last year's Syracuse team that got there?
No.
No. Okay.
I worry about their depth. I worry about the fact that they're really only playing 6 guys, foul trouble. What if they were to play a team like Florida State who comes at them in waves, relentless, athletic?
But they got a Duke transfer who didn't play a lot of Duke. Syracuse had one of those in Michael Beneget. Now they got one in Shemi Ojale.
So
they kind of sound alike.
So you're basically saying, you know, throw this in the mix and that and a little hocus pocus and out comes a Final Four.
I'm just trying to sell it here.
And a fine effort, Andy, on your behalf.
I'd like to see the president take off that vest again and show me the mob.
Yeah, the mob. And SMU told me that if they get to the Final Four, who knows, maybe 43 will show up.
I thought there was a chance he might show up in the championship game today. Such a great supporter of the Mustang program. They're going to get it downstairs for Foster in the basket.
At one point, Cincinnati trailed in this basketball game by 17. Foster's been terrific. Biggest Cincinnati comeback under Mick Cronin, 17 back in 2007. So they'd have to at least match that and do it quickly in 7 minutes.
13-point lead here for the Mustangs. Nearly stolen away. And a whistle and a foul with 7:12 to go. This gentleman would be loving this score if he were here today. You know, somewhere President Bush is watching, and he probably has that T-shirt on. Sandelson.
She was just remarkable today, wasn't she?
TCU upsets Kansas. This great story of the Wolverines rolls on in Washington, D.C.
It's going to come.
Unbelievable.
The Duke Blue Devils win 4 games and win this tournament.
It has been some champ week. Very memorable indeed. Joey Brackett says the ACC will send 10 to the NCAA tournament.
It's been the topic of conversation since we tipped off college basketball. Would this be reminiscent of the great Big East days when they had expanded as a conference? I do think over the course of time, the separation between the Power 5 conferences and those not is only going to widen.
I think the Michigan story is just extraordinary. What the Wolverines are doing. 7:10 left. Cincinnati looking for a comeback. Back outside for Johnson. He can't stick it.
Well, the Michigan story is great, and anybody who's ever interacted with John Beilein roots for the guy in general. And in the aftermath of that plane slipping off the runway, they are up 11 right now.
You know, I talked to the Michigan staff about everything that had happened a couple of days when I was in the studio, and they said he was simply unbelievable, almost like sort of the captain of a ship. He made sure, and John Beilein talked to Reese Davis about this as well, that once everyone got off, he turned around to make sure that everyone got off and cleared the area. Because you didn't know. You didn't know what would happen with that plane. You know, luckily,
the engines were roaring.
You didn't know if anything was going to blow.
Up.
And thankfully nothing did. And the other thing that was interesting is the fact that because it was so windy, the chutes that, you know, obviously everyone knows when we open the doors that had been deployed, they were flapping around in the wind. So it wasn't an easy embarkment because of the conditions.
Yeah, there was a ravine, and there were some discrepancies about how far away the ravine was off that runway, but they were getting close to it by the time those brakes finally slammed on. For those not familiar with the story, because the investigation of why it went off the runway was getting underway, they had to leave all their luggage on the plane and their uniforms. They had to roll out their practice unis to play in the first round of the Big Ten tournament. Here they are on the verge of winning that championship. Just remarkable. But everyone very shaken, no question. In an event like that, 6:12 left, 57-44. Cincinnati at one point was down 17 points in this game. That was their biggest deficit of the year. So it's been uphill for the Bearcats. As Sterling Brown connects on his first foul shot. Brown had 22 points on Saturday, along with 6 rebounds and 4 assists. He was the big star for SMU.
Listen, I think that the careers of both Sterling Brown and Ben Moore in an SMU uniform have been tremendous. They're in the top 15 of multiple categories.
Sterling Brown has won more games, 108 games, working on 109 today, than anybody in the history of their program. Cumberland denied. Cold shooting day for the Bearcats. Copain can't sink it. They've really been offline on the threes. 3 for 19 beyond that three-point line.
A couple quick things for you. First of all, I am in contact with the NCAA. The bracket is not set yet, so this game does have meaning in terms of seeding.
So you lied, basically.
What? I thought it was. What do I know? But the other thing is that it's an interesting point that Mick Cronin made before the game. He firmly believes that the teams that play on Sunday should play on Friday.
Yeah, I agree
and
with
not
that.
Thursday.
No, I agree with that. Such a short turnaround.
Yeah, there's only a handful of them. There's so many bracketing principles and procedures. I don't know if they could work that out, but he firmly believes, and I think he's probably in the majority of coaches that coach on a Sunday, they would love it to be playing on Friday. Not Thursday.
Tim Jankovic said the same thing, Andy. I was teasing you, but did they give you any indication why the bracket? What are they debating? Is it just seed lines for these teams? What is it? Do you know?
No, I think they're just telling me that because they want to make sure that this game still matters to people watching.
Gotcha.
Well, we appreciate that.
Yes.
On the other hand, it will be fascinating to see if they do flip in projected seedings, at least the ones that Joe Lunardi has, whether 5 or 6, if they'll go in the opposite direction for Cincinnati and SMU. Here we are in the last 4:21 of this contest, this championship, and SMU appears to have a stranglehold on it right now.
You know, one of the key points that they did make in the NCAA is they did adjust. If you play in the first 4 in Dayton, they did adjust not having to play at noon on Thursday if you were to play like Tuesday night, because that happened, I think it was to West Virginia a couple of years ago, where they were in the first 4 and ended up having to go down to Florida for a noon game on Thursday. So they did make that time adjustment.
And this is not an insurmountable deficit here for Cincinnati. It really isn't. You know, one shot gets you within 10. Oh, they've struggled to make the 3.
Ogilvy, yes, a 3. But the lead is only growing. He has 14. His second half has been so different than his first half. 14 points, 12 since halftime. Copain. Clark setting the screen. 9 to get one off. Now down to 5. Cumberland with the stop. The leader blocked by Foster. That triggers the break. Ogilvy shuffling to Moore. Tipped back out. Milton with a second effort.
Boy, Foster was just tremendous defensively. You know, usually you think of the offensive player looking at a dwindling shot clock. Foster is checking the man with the ball. He peeked at the opposite end of the floor to see where that clock was and then stepped closer to the guy. That was great defense.
SMU has blocked 6 shots today. Brown. Milton gives it off. Moore with a shot clock at 2. He can't connect. 64-48. Cincinnati running out of time if they're going to get back into this American Conference Championship game. Copain, that would help. Those are just not falling today. Cumberland draws the foul and gets to the line. He's looking for the 3-point play.
Well, SMU has got to make some defensive plays to just seal this thing down. Watch Jure Foster on the right side of your screen. He's going to take a peek at the clock. So he says, okay, you're under duress. Let me step up, make sure I can challenge this. Block shot, not too bad.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Frontier Communications, official sponsor of the American Athletic Conference.
Bob's Discount Furniture is a proud partner of the 2017 American Athletic Conference Men's Basketball Championships in support of the league's student athletes across the country. For untouchable values every day, shop Bob's Discount Furniture in store or online at mybobs.com. Get the entertainment you demand at your best price ever with Vantage by Frontier. Now with 2 years of HBO included, switch today and get Vantage TV, internet, and voice by Frontier for $60 a month for 6 months with a 2-year agreement. Don't miss out. Call 855-873-7257 today.
Okay. SMU on top by 14 over Cincinnati here in the championship game. And our move of the game is brought to you by Degree Deodorant. It's the tournament for Shemi Ojale, the 6'7 junior.
Well, this guy is the player of the year for a reason. He puts in an incredible amount of time away from the game. Every day at 8:30, he meets 2 managers and a coach, goes through a pro-style shooting routine. His success is no accident. He has developed his game as perimeter shooting. He's a natural 4 here, and this is what he's done to this point. He's added 14 today, a lot of that coming in the second half.
Ben Moore with his 4th foul to put Cumberland at the line where he connects on a 3-point play. Cincinnati needs a bunch of those here in the last 2.5 minutes, but they're within 13.
Well, it was handling pressure against East Carolina, which proved problematic for SMU and allowed them back in the game. And obviously, Tim Jankovic said that was a bit of a dress rehearsal. On the second night we faced pressure, we did better. Can they handle it here? They do in that instance.
They broke it. Brown on the attack. No.
Why do you take that shot? Possession of the ball, just pull, back dribble, and set your offense.
And run some clock. Here's Johnson. No, off the back of the iron. Back for Copain. He'll try one. Got it.
That's just a silly shot and something you don't expect from SMU, such a disciplined team. And Renee's trying to say, hey, we're still in this thing.
Her son, Troy, now with 8 points, 1 out of 5 beyond the 3-point line. And Cincinnati has sliced it to 10. Still time, 2:09 remaining here in Hartford. Tomorrow we have an exclusive live announcement of the 64-team NCAA Women's Championship field at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Maria, Rebecca, Andy, Kara, and Charlie Cream will break it all down. The NCAA Women's Selection Special presented by Capital One.
Everybody's All-American, 5-0. Rebecca Lobo and Andy Lander's been such a great addition to that women's basketball studio. The longtime coach at Georgia. You see Mick giving some last-minute instructions here. SMU will have to handle pressure. We expect them to have to make some free throws.
That is 6 straight points in just 29 seconds for the Bearcats.
And it's why, you say it's only one bad shot by SMU. It's one bad shot that led to, okay, you did not use 30 seconds of clock, and oh, by the way, they just crept 3 points closer.
So more pressure from Cincinnati. Year in, year out, one of the great defensive teams in the country. Foster running that baseline. Moore, who's playing with 4 fouls across half court. Bearcats looking for a theft. They're on a 10-3 run.
You want to stay spaced, and you want to try to see if you could get this thing to Sterling Brown, who's been a big shot maker in his career.
9 on the shot clock. Brown backing it away, taking his time. Running all sorts of clock. He'll fire it now. He banks it in, and he got fouled on the play. How about that? Sterling Brown whittling down the shot clock. He has 17.
Second-team American Conference performer. The hard dribble at the first time. Back that defender onto their heels. I don't know that he called window. It is Sunday, but the bank apparently is open. My goodness, nice shot.
17 points, 6 out of 11 for the Mustang senior.
There was a point, Dave, where Larry Brown had to try to coerce this guy to be more assertive, to be more aggressive. Yesterday you were talking about how quietly productive Sterling Brown was. This guy can contribute in any number of ways.
Well, he scored over 1,000 points in his career. Also a really fine rebounder. Averages about 7 rebounds a game. He had 16 points against ECU in the quarterfinals, 22 yesterday. And that's a 3-point play.
On the season, he's upward of 3 assists per game. And now a little zone trap here by SMU.
In for Washington, he floats into. The press again for Cincinnati.
They're using Ben Moore as pressure release, and now Shake and Sterling should take over.
They get it across for Moore. And now wisely back it out, but now a foul before the dunk. Foul against Cincinnati with 1:14 to go. Time running short on the Bearcats.
It just puts SMU into the bonus.
And that'll be Moore to the line. Only hits about 63%. The senior from Bolingbrook, Illinois. 0 for 1 today at the foul line. SMU trying to sweep the regular season championship and the tournament title in the American Conference.
Now, Tim Jankovich, when Larry Brown was hired, was basically hired as the coach in waiting. What a job he has done here. And in Larry's absence last year, he was tremendous as well.
Jankovich in his first year at the helm. 69 to 56. Already a single season record for victories, and trying to make it 30 SMU. Copain lets fly. Taken away by Foster, and less than a minute to go. And SMU can start their celebration. And the chants have started. They're faithful in the house here in Hartford. Foster with the slam. An exclamation to make it 71-56. Well, it has been a heck of a run for SMU, and they are heading into the NCAA tournament with a full head of steam.
Well, they've been one of the hottest teams in the country, fundamentally sound on both ends.
Final seconds here at the XL Center.
To have the lack of depth that SMU has been dealing with all year and to win 3 games in 3 days on short preparation, congratulations to Tim Jankovich.
So the SMU Mustangs will race into the NCAA tournament with a 16-game winning streak. They